Hi there, everybody. Here I am back again with part two of my top of my counter to a wine rack. And I've already stamped part of this. The initial stage, if you remember the last video, I had a bunch of contact paper on this board and I had to take all the time to scrape it off with a razor blade, and it wasn't coming off easy, and then sand it down a bit, and then put a coat, actually 2 coats of paint over the top, and then I started stamping. I'm using the Peony stamp, which is IOD, Iron Orchid Designs stamp. It's the Peony, and this is an example on the back what you can do with it. You can stamp it, you can paint inside afterwards if you like, which I'm contemplating doing on a couple of projects here that are coming up. Anyway, this one I'm stamping, and then I'll put a finish top coat on to protect it. But I wanted to show you this grid that comes. You can get this from Iron Orchid Designs as well, and you can place a large quantity of stamps on. So these are all stamps that came additionally from this Peony. All of these that I'm using today are on one package of the Peony stamp package. So this one, I've placed this stamp here, and this flower is going to be coming off of it here. So I'm going to position that, and this grid is big enough that I can, instead of having to do individual stamps, you can build your part of your display, which is what I did for the center as well. And so these stamps will be placed. So the corner section, once I get it so I like the way it looks, and I'll take these off their backing, apply them to the grid, and then I'll position them on my board. So what I want to do is kind of move this over to my board. It'll be upside down, and I want to see what the placement is going to look like overall compared to where I want everything else. And so I'm seeing that once this is flipped, this stamp of course will be on this side, and this will be on the other side. It'll be flipped. So I'm going to flip it over just so you can kind of see, and those 2 small ones will fall off. So I need to try to figure out how I want these stamps to come off of here. Which side? I think I want the bigger bud on the bottom and the smaller bud coming off over here. So you can arrange and pre-arrange what your board is going to look like, or your project is going to look like when it's all done. You can do more than boards. You can do walls. You can stamp. I mean, I have an idea for stamping a wall with these large peony stamps. I also have some other very large stamps, and you can find them in my shop, which is in the Catawba River Antique Mall in Belmont, North Carolina. And if you aren't close to me, you can go on the Iron Orchid Designs website and find the stockist that's nearest you to get your products. I do mail. I've had people contact me because they don't have a stockist near them requesting that I mail something to them. That's no problem. I can do that too. But you can look for what you want on the Iron Orchid Designs website and then contact me to order it if you don't have a stockist near you, and they will, I can send it. So anyway, back to this project. So I feel like this stamp needs to be lower here. It's going to be a bit of on an angle like this, so we want it to kind of flow nicely on that corner. So it's going to be something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and position these stamps where I want them. And then of course we know that when we flip, this will have to get flipped back the other way. When it gets flipped, it's going to be just the opposite. So the small one for my purposes is going to have to be here, and the larger one over here. And now what I do is I take them off their backing, which, because I don't have my selfie stamp with me, I've pre-pulled these. They pull pretty hard off of there. You have to be careful. I actually tore my large, this stamp, because there's places in the stamp that have little holes to give you the look you're looking for. And so when you pull your stamp off of the main backing when you first get them, you have to be super careful. Take your time because they're really stuck on there. They're high quality stamps. And so they are kind of thick, but there are some spots where they create, like for instance, I'll show you this stamp. This stamp has a little hole in it right here to give some air through there for getting it off of the board, I guess is what the purpose is. So I actually, it's a little thinner right there, and I tore my stamp, so I had to tape it. It still works just fine, but I was mad at myself for not taking my time. I was in a hurry to use them. So, okay, so a lot of talk, but this is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this, and I'm going to come back when all my stamping is done, and I'll show you the finished board.